Good morning and welcome to episode 25 of Wake Up West Orange. We hope you're starting out well today. Usually Tim gets to decide the topic, but I am vetoing him today, and I'm going to at least get this started, though as long as it's not on me the entire time. But we've been in a health crisis, as everybody pretty much knows, and we're not going to really talk about that today, but we all have health issues from time to time, and I actually had one after church on Sunday, and then leading into Monday morning, woke up again with pain, and I knew what it was. I knew, Angie, that I was pregnant. Now, I wasn't pregnant, but what I've heard women with kidney stones say that it's like is pregnancy. And so anyway, I have my third kidney stone. I thought I would go in, maybe or maybe not get the morphine and get out. And but then the doctor said, well, you got 3 problems. I'm like, well, of course. And but I don't have COVID, by the way. It's okay for us to be here in proximity. That's my first COVID test. Have y'all been tested for COVID?
Have not.
Okay, well, it's an experience. You get those both nostrils.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Really?
Yeah,
yeah. Kayla had to have it, but it was just one nostril.
No, they did both
before her surgery. That's interesting.
Yeah, they did both.
Okay.
But anyway, so the other issue, they were kind of concerned since this is my third one. They noticed my levels are kind of high in one of my kidneys, which it's kind of nice God made us with 2 kidneys because one's overcompensating right now. But I go back this Friday to the urologist to get that checked out again, whether I passed it or not. But anyway, so we thought based on that, they admitted me, I saw a urologist and so forth. But based on, and I'll take all the sympathy I can get. So if you want to bring me donut, well, that's probably how I got the stone. But if you want to, show me sympathy in some way,
buy a case of water.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's why,
a good one.
and that's why I got this today. I'm supposed to do plenty of drinking, so
Of water.
Yes. And Angie, I noticed you don't have coffee either.
I don't. I've got my Diet Coke. I wanted some Diet Coke today, so I don't have my tea. I don't have anything warm. Just the plain good caffeine.
Yeah.
Or bad caffeine, I guess, would be the thing.
Gotcha. Hey, I hear. So based on that, I thought we might talk about just more on both kind of a holistic approach to health, that we should strive to be healthy, and not just physically, but mental health, relational health, spiritual health. So
at school this year, and a little bit last year, but especially this year, we've got this big push for social emotional learning, and that's a big long thing, but it basically just means understanding our emotions and how we interact with others, and literally teaching children, this is what you need to do when you're upset. These are strategies that you can use to calm down. When you're having conflict with somebody, here's what you can try, other than using your hands. It's a lesson that we're building into our school week. And I don't know, I think that it's doing a lot of good for a lot of kids. We used to teach those things at home, and I think that there are a lot of parents that are doing a great job of teaching those things. But in some of our kids' homes, it's not something they're being taught, or maybe not explicitly like what we're doing.
So do you have like a set curriculum, or is it, how do y'all go about teaching them?
So there are some that are provided by the district that we can use. There are also some others that we have just gone and found or created. And one of the best things that we tend to do is we just let the kids talk. This is a time when I felt frustrated, and this is what I did that fixed it. And just by hearing the other kids talk through this is what I did and this is how it happened to me, they understand that it is, we all are going to get frustrated or we're all going to get angry, and that's normal, and it's okay to have those feelings. And these are some healthy ways to deal with it.
You know, I've heard that in some houses that the parents never let the kids see mom and dad have conflict, and how that's actually unhealthy.
I grew up in one of those houses.
I did too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. The first time that, maybe I shouldn't say this, but the first time that I was over at Marion and Renda's house after Brett and I had begun dating, where they were having a conversation, I thought it was some big blowout. I was, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't prepared for it, and it wasn't a fight. It was just a disagreement, and those are healthy.
But you weren't used to seeing that in a married couple.
I wasn't.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah, my parents were kind of the same. We really never saw them, I don't want to say the word fight because that's kind of the wrong term, but have a disagreement in front of us beyond, a normal disagreement, I guess. If they were really upset with each other, we didn't see that. And we always saw them after. Mom would be really quiet, and Dad would go out and build something or whatever in the backyard. We had a big wood barn shed thing. We built all kinds of stuff. But even beyond that, they actually kind of did that. My dad was a preacher for a long time, and they also did that, I think, to protect my sister and I from, sheltering us from seeing the underbelly, how the sausage is made at church kind of thing. But we were oblivious that there were problems with people at church. And, in one way, it's great that they kept that. In another, then as I get older, my sister as well, and they're like, we want you to be involved in church and all that. Then we start realizing, oh, these people are normal, and that means they're not normal. So, I can see the reason behind it, but I can also see what your point was, that sometimes maybe those aren't the right ways to help you maneuver life. So, yeah.
Well, as we're talking this month in our series about masks, now you see me, now you don't. Again, we kind of learn at some age after childhood, getting into teenage years and young adult years, that we start to, pretend, or we don't want to necessarily, we're guarded, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't want to really disclose if we're having an issue or a problem, and that's very unhealthy. That to just sweep conflict under the rug or whatever it is. So definitely this, again, you don't want people to worry about you if you have a health problem, for example, but at the same time, there's times, especially if it's mentally or emotionally more than
Right.
physical. Usually we'll share the physical, but it's the deeper stuff that hurts us more and that troubles us more and that keeps us from getting to places, that God
Sure.
wants us to get to. And I would definitely say right now with the pandemic that just based on some things that you hear, that there's a lot more issues with people as far as depression and other things. But so 3 John verse 2 says this. It says, "Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well." I find that verse to be instructive to us and revealing to us, because it indicates that we are to care about our health, and not just our soul. Yes, we need to put a primary concern on our soul, but also to care about our health physically and mentally. But Angie, we were all talking before we started filming that we don't always do a good job, even with our physical health. We procrastinate. We don't go to the doctor. We don't do things.
Well, we think sometimes it's not as important or as pressing as this, so I'll get to that later.
Right.
And at some point it's going to become pressing, and it's better if we do those things ahead of time. And just preventative is always better than the other. But I don't know. I find myself that's a struggle I have is making time, and going to the doctor or the dentist and having my wisdom teeth out, or so many of those things are just not something I'm good at. That's something I need to work on.
Yeah, some people, there's extremes, I suppose, of the spectrum of some. They think every little thing they've got to go to the doctor, so they're always concerned, and there's others that never go because they don't like the doctor or just wait. So somewhere in the middle, there's a nice balance of, well, if I notice something strange about my body in whatever way that it's hurting or isn't quite right, or whatever, that's when you should address it.
You're right.
Or have someone else help you address it. Sure.
Yeah.
That's one of the amazing things to me about how God designed our body is that like all it all works together as a unit, and yet it was perfectly designed to like tell us when something's wrong. And I heard this on the radio, so it has to be true, but I actually heard these medical people talking on this show recently while in the car. And they said that just from your hands alone, this doctor, he had to write this whole paper or whatever, but it was a timed paper just based on your hands. And he said he didn't have enough time in like 2 hours. He said he could probably write 6 hours just on everything hands can tell a doctor. The reason they were talking about it on the radio was because right now there's been all that telehealth stuff where you can just call into your doctor and speak over the phone, and how that's so much harder for a doctor to really be able to see what all could be an issue that just when you, and that's fascinating to me, that just by you going into the doctor, they can sit there, okay, cough here, do this. Okay, let me see your hand. Whoa, let me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, for instance, and I'm looking just before I say this, because Kayla will look after I say it when I get home, but, no, she won't. But I remember growing up at times, you used to get those different white kind of things within your fingernails. You remember that? And my mom used to say, oh, it's a girlfriend. Every one of those is a girlfriend, which wasn't exactly true. I mean, I had a couple here and there, but right now.
At the same time?
Well, we're not going to talk about that. But right now I have none of those things. But what I found out was that actually is your body is telling you need calcium.
Yes.
Or you have too much calcium.
No, it's deficiency.
It's deficiency.
Yes.
So I actually needed calcium, and instead my mom was just making fun of me saying I had too many girlfriends. So that's interesting. But yeah, you're right. That's the point. And of course the whole analogy of if you are hammering and you hit your thumb or whatever, your whole body responds to that.
Yeah.
Your mouth, maybe, depending on what you say, but then also everything just goes straight to making sure it's going to be okay. So there's a lot of levels to that actually, or layers.
I had an elder talk with me one time and was saying, just like, hey, I want to talk. It's like, okay, am I getting fired? What's this about?
That's always, yeah.
Yeah, but
I can't go.
Yeah, but was saying, Brian, I'm so edgy right now. Like at work, I'm edgy. Everywhere I'm edgy. And it was so funny in the conversation, he solved his problem.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there listening, like, okay. And he said, and I think what it is I've not been doing my daily Bible reading. He said, I'm from the time I wake up, I'm just focused on me and what I've got to accomplish and got to do. And he came back to me a few weeks after that conversation, and he said, you know what, I've been doing my daily devotionals again. And he's like, I'm at such a better place. And I think that is so indicative and really imperative for all of us is, we notice these things about ourselves. Man, I'm way more on edge, or I'm more depressed, or whatever, that something's not right. Obviously there's things we can't control, but what can I control? What could I change? And sometimes it's as simple as, my mind, focusing on the word.
I think connected to some of the things you're saying there goes along with what you were mentioning before about feelings, because I've noticed, I feel like we've talked about this on here, but maybe not, because I've said this before recently, and I heard someone else kind of talking about it, so I'm not claiming to be a monopoly on this. But anyway, we were into a deep trend of everybody on their devices alone. in that world. And I don't mean like alone, like in a room with nobody there. I mean like we find ourselves getting more and more accustomed to being away from people in general. And then there was an uptick in a new trend from that of app-based counselors, because people were starting to feel lonely. And then the COVID situation erupts and everybody has to be alone. And so it has magnified that to even, I mean, all I hear on the radio half the time is commercials on now those counselors that are available through an app or whatever. And people want to be around or at least talk to somebody, and feelings, I think, is part of it. Is, you know, that's usually what if you go see a psychologist or psychiatrist, eventually they're going to say something like, well, how does that make you feel? And the whole point of saying that is, number one, you need to kind of figure out your own problem. But number two is the chances are great you went to see that person because you didn't think you had anybody else to talk to anyway. So it all kind of comes back full circle that we need each other. We need other people, but we also need to not get so consumed within ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is easy to do sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, hopefully our viewers have enjoyed this. I remember years ago hearing it said, when you start enjoying hearing each other's stories about health problems, it's a sign you're getting older. So,
yeah, really.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so if you're a very young person, you probably turn this off in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you're still with us here to the end,
Way to hang on.
hopefully you found this enjoyable and maybe in some way encouraging. And we hope you have a great rest of the day.